Nearly 9 out of 10 teachers say that practice is most important for helping students improve. Families are wasting hundreds of dollars every year in lesson costs due to unproductive practice. Lack of practice is the #1 reason why students end up quitting. It's easy to see why practice matters most. You've made the smart choice by making practice better with better practice. You'll start to see results in the very first week, and your families will save money in the long run. Better Practice was created by a team of parents and music educators to address not only what happens in the studio, but more importantly, what happens in the home. Today's students were born into a world of technology, where learning is done with rich media, feedback is instantaneous, and aspects of their lives are being measured. So many different activities have to compete for a slot in the student's week, like video games, sports, homework, and other after-school activities, and attention spans are much shorter. Music teachers must adapt in order to survive. The best ones will figure out how to connect with and motivate this generation, and Better Practice makes it easy for you to do just that. The fact is that while assignments and tracking are important, they alone will not make your students want to practice more. Better Practice is not only the world's easiest assignment tool and the smartest practice tracker, it's a motivation toolbox that integrates joyful practice and mindful practice for the most productive practice sessions every time. It works, and our results prove it. We have industry recognition, millions of practices recorded, and case studies, such as this one, showing students practicing more and better after using Better Practice. Let's see it in action. Students start practice by determining what is happening in the studio community. On every page, not only are they being informed, but also are being subtly motivated to practice. Better Practice has countdowns for those motivated by deadlines and a dashboard of the week's practice for those motivated by accomplishments. At the bottom, you can see who practiced today, which shows other students in your studio who've practiced. Here is a leaderboard and the ability to send compliments for those motivated by social interactions. It's important for you to be able to reach all of your students, no matter what their motivational drivers are. To begin practice, a student goes to the practice screen to see their practice list, organized specifically for that student that day. The practice list includes all of the current assignments, always at the top, and then assignments in review. The review list is defined by the teacher, but maintained by our smart review engine, which rotates through items needing more practice. This means that the list changes each day, always organized from high priority, needing the most practice, to low. Practice becomes so easy and efficient that we have young students, beginners, that went from almost no practice to practicing every day. The student begins practice by simply tapping on the first assignment to open it. Here, everything he needs to practice is at his fingertips. The practice timer is automatically going. Teacher notes, front and center, backing tracks, videos, sheet music, recordings, metronome, all here. If a student has a question while practicing, he can send it to you immediately. The student can even use this side by side with other music apps. There are no more excuses to not practice because everything is right here. When the student is done, it's time to reflect on and rate today's practice. This automatically stops the timer and brings him back to the practice list for the next assignment. Sometimes practices are celebrated with a fun animation. It's so fun and effective that many of our teachers use it to practice themselves. Easier, smarter, and more engaging. This unique combination of factors is what will help your students practice better, and this is only available on Better Practice. Let's begin with lesson planning. To lesson plan, you'll need to know what the student has already completed and what's next. So you'll go into the student's page, into Assign, then to Lesson Plan. To get a roadmap of the student's progress, tap on the Assignment Guide button next to the search bar. This will show you what has been completed and what is next, differentiated by color. It will also show you what categories have not been assigned in a while. To schedule an assignment, pick an assignment and enter your notes. If you have taught this before and have saved notes from a previous lesson, you can retrieve it from Save Notes, so you don't have to type it again. Just tap, tap, and you're done. Add multiple assignments to the lesson plan and decide the right one to teach next based on what happens at the lesson. Those you decide not to assign will wait right here until you're ready. For custom assignments, or if you know exactly which assignment you want next, you can also search from this search bar. Everything you change syncs up immediately on the student account. Assigning becomes so easy that it's easy to see why it's our teacher's favourite feature. Now you're at your lesson, where you'll want to address problem areas and teach what's next. Better practices practice insights make it easy to see how much the student practiced, what they practiced, and where the student struggled during the week. You can also see if the student watched a video, view the sheet music, use the metronome, and more with the detail icons. Students and parents are able to see the exact same reports you're seeing here and get email updates. During the lesson, you can unassign completed assignments with a tap. Notice how some assignments say, Unassign, Begin Review. When the assignments go into review, they will continue to rotate through that bottom portion of the practice list as needed. This is great for keeping repertoire or technical skills fresh. If it just says Unassign, the assignment will not show up again unless you decide to reassign it in the future. You can easily change whether or not it will go into review, though in most cases you won't have to. The lesson planning you did earlier pays off because now, at the end of your lesson, you can quickly just tap to assign. If you didn't lesson plan, you can still quickly add assignments the same way, much quicker still than taking the time to write out everything in a notebook at the end of the lesson. Now, say it's been a couple of days since your student left his lesson. Without this tool, you would be crossing your fingers, hoping the student remembers what you taught and practices it well. With better practice, you can stay connected and keep their momentum going. We address the most common practice excuses, like losing sheet music or not knowing what to practice. And you can address the remaining roadblocks by answering your students' questions via chat. You will be able to monitor practices with who practiced today and send your own compliments and encouragements. You can celebrate successes by posting to your studio Facebook group, if you have one, and easily engage parents to provide support in targeted areas or goals. You can also tap into the more motivational tools and run contests like Who Practiced Most this week and track the studio's results right here in Scorecard. Understanding your students, their needs, their habits, and their strengths has never been easier. Because practice is critical for your students' success, and ultimately your success, you made a great choice choosing better practice. Not only will you enjoy how easy it is to manage assignments and teach more effectively with insights, your students will enjoy practicing and feel connected with you and the larger community of students. Parents will also appreciate being more involved. It only takes minutes to get up and running and start seeing results immediately. Watch this video on the basics of getting set up, or check out our tutorials in the app.